Am I a massive hypocrite for constantly complaining about the speed blitz of release sets, the constant new ramming down our throats of Universes Beyond sets, and the spoiler season that now has gone so completely full Ouroboros level of circle that we're now getting spoilers for 2 sets time before 1 set has even had its own pre-release? Am I a hypocrite for complaining about all of these things and yet still being deeply excited about Avatar? Yes. Yes, I am. I loved the Avatar The Last Airbender series when I was growing up. Poignant yet funny, great character development, dealing with hard topics like disabilities, discrimination, tyranny, government censorship, and the genuine struggle between keeping your ideals when the rubber hits the road of the world and you're confronted with genuine evil. Which has now all been nice and easily combined into my favourite hobby and produced some rather broken new Magic the Gathering cards. And the spoilers have also indicated to us that we're going to get some cards that are going to breathe some new life into particular deck archetypes which have been left to honestly rot in their own dust. Much of that pile of cards you keep saying you're going to organise but you never quite get round to doing. You know the one. So for this video I'm going to be looking at archetypes that are being brought back into the mainstream with Avatar spoilers, as well as looking at the new mechanics being brought in. If you like any of the cards you see here today in this video, please make sure all your purchases go through our lovely affiliate links in the description box below. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but really helps the channel out quite a lot. So, let's start with the least impactful one. As of the recording of this video, there's been one shrine spoiled from the Avatar set, that being the Southern Air Temple. Now, 4 mana at sorcery speed to put reasonably between 1 and 3 counters on your board is pretty steep. But then everything gets another counter whenever another shrine enters. Now, did you notice the important thing that's, well, frankly, missing from this shrine? Nowhere on this card is there any timing restrictions. No at the beginning of your upkeep of the shrines from Eternal Masters, no at the end step like the Kamigawa ones, or at the beginning of your pre-common main phase like the M21 set shrines. This shrine, presumably, and the others from the set, are on ETB and on other shrine ETBs, which is huge! Very happy for this. I played a shrine deck a while back and it just felt always a step behind everyone else. Everything you did was sorcery speed and everyone knew what your turn was going to look like because you had to wait for specific steps to occur to trigger all your shrines to do their thing. Great improvement. Don't think it's going to turn shrines into an OP deck or anything, but definitely a step in the right direction for an otherwise overlooked card type. Now onto something I keep hearing whispers about in Legacy: experience counters. Now these are currently only seen on Aang Airbending Master and Katara Waterbending Master, but both these are in the non-standard legal part of the set. Which, considering we haven't seen that much of it, I'm hoping we get a few more legends that do care about experience counters. Which, just briefly, in case you didn't notice, the set has 2 symbols. This one is for the standard legal cards, and this one is for, well, everything else. Now, experience counters aren't exactly new. They came out in 2015 with the Commander decks of that year, with legends like Mizzix, Merrin, and Azori. Since then, other legends have also utilised experience counters like Uthari, Menthra, and, for better or worse, Azlask. And now we have 2 more, with Aang being Preston's new best friend, and Katara just being an insane card draw engine. I don't think she's good enough to work by herself, especially with no natural evasion, but will still be an all-star in an Azori deck, and Aang is great to grow your board in any Flicker deck. Or with the new airbending, even in Ghost Spider, to play that card from exile. Plus, all the allies can then benefit from all these new synergies. Which naturally brings us to... yes, a creature type that was last seen majorly featured all the way back in the Oath of the Gatewatch set, which was released in 2016, which... wow, ooh. Ooh. Since then there's been a few new allies printed, but nothing really helping out those kin get off the ground. But since all the gang are indeed allies, and the previously previewed Katara is actively a panharmonicon for ally abilities, it's safe to say allies as a creature type are making a comeback. And honestly, that's only a good thing. Allies have some amazing cards, like Harabaz Druid for mana, Seagate Lawemaster for draw, and even a 2-mana clone effect in Jwari Shapeshifter. Allies genuinely have a lot of support, and also just generally good cards. Zillport Cutthroat is an ally, so is Brush Tal, plus they've already got a cool 5-colour commander in General Tazri. An ally tutor on entry that has a win con strapped to them in buffing your entire board. And yes, they do even have a new 5-colour legend in Avatar Aang, which I will explain why I'm not a particularly massive fan of later in the video. It's primarily because of the new... Within the new Avatar set, we get 4 new keywords: air, water, fire, and earth bending. But, much like in the show, not all bending is created equal. Firebending is by far the weakest ability. Okay, you get X amount of red mana when the creature attacks, but this disappears at the end of combat. So it's going to be primarily used for combat tricks, or maybe instant speed interactions, or using it on any activated abilities, essentially mana sinks. But overall it's not huge, not massive, engulfing flame that I was kind of hoping for. Now if it said mana didn't disappear until the end of your turn, now that'd be something to write home about. But I do know that's not how fire works, and it's a lot more flavorful for it to leave at the end of combat, but damn it, I want my red ramp. Meanwhile, Earthbending, as seen on Toph, the first metal bender, it makes your lands into creatures, and puts X counters on them, per their Earthbending ability. And should those lands die or be exiled, they come back to the battlefield tapped, which is honestly pretty good. Old creature lands or the Awaken mechanic always felt bad when you end up losing your land to a board wipe or target removal. So being able to ensure your now creature lands survive is a great way to prevent from being pushed back on mana just for growing your own board state. Airbending meanwhile seems like someone looked at phasing and said, yes, but I would also like some ETBs to still go off. If we take a look at COPPA, Steadfast Guardian, when they enter you can airbend any number of creatures, thus saving them from any targeted removal or a board wipe. This is amazing, and while blinking creatures isn't exactly new, giving that delay from when you want them to come back in is amazing. It gives more options and again gives you those sweet ETBs. Not to mention the exile synergies we're clearly going to be getting in this set. COPPA themselves makes a 1-1 from casting from exile, and all airbending cards are going straight into my Ghost Spider deck. And then we get to waterbending, the absolutely busted bit of blue BS. It's like Convoke and Improvise had a baby, and the midwife was Urza. It's essentially an activated ability that can seemingly do anything. Katara, Water Tribe's Hope, does a great mirror entity impression, while Yue the Moon Spirit lets you cast a non-creature spell from your hand for free with a waterbending cost of 5. So just for example, I could have Yue out and have out some tokens or some artifacts, and just tap those to help cast an Expropriate for essentially free. Now look, this might just be me being overly harsh, but waterbending seems like the strictly best mechanic, with airbending coming in a close second. Or maybe Yue just has the single best waterbending ability and the rest are absolute trash. We don't know yet. But as both Convoke and Improvise cards have shown, being able to essentially navigate around a card's casting cost is always powerful. And it's the same thing with an activated ability. If something's 5 mana and you get to pay less for that just by tapping a creature or an artifact that doesn't have a tap ability anyway, yeah, that's still powerful. Which does bring me to something I want to touch on that ties into the allies section a bit, and that is the new Avatar Aang card. He himself has firebending, and whenever you do a bending, you draw a card. Pretty decent. If nothing else, it's attack, get 2 mana, and draw a card for 4 mana. But then you have to do all 4 bendings to flip him into a Morophon style effect, but way better, and also can then be flipped to get a ton of advantage, which he then gets bigger, and you can repeat that realistically as many times as you want. Now this card is good, it is, but doing all 4 styles of bending in a single turn, that's going to be exceptionally difficult. And it also just kind of reminds me of Mutate in a way. Okay, look, just bear with me a second. Mutate was a weird mechanic that some loved, some hated, but it was unique to Ikoria, and that's kind of the problem that the Mutate and this Aang is going to face. There will be no more support for the bending mechanic after this set. So once all these cards are out, that's it. The deck's main theme won't be getting any better. So while it'll still be a fun deck and a good goal to aim for, I think it's going to be a bit of a trap to think it's going to be a 1-2 punch commander that's going to be overtly powerful and will unfortunately kind of get stuck and restricted by its own keywords. So, in summary, Shrines are back, better than ever. Experience counters are also back and potentially going to be a bit of a problem. Allies are back and getting a potentially new powerful commander, but I doubt it. And waterbending is potentially the most broken thing since Wizards decided that Thassa needed an Oracle. And that'll be the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. What cards are you excited about from Avatar, or are we all just crossing our fingers and hoping Uncle Iroh is awesome? Let us know in the comments below. As always, all Affinity for Commander content is made possible thanks to support of our amazing patrons. You guys are truly awesome. If you too like to become a patron of the channel yourself and get access to exclusive EDH related rewards, including getting your own deck tech on the channel, make sure you have a look at our link in the description box below. You can also support the channel in a few of the quick and easy ways, liking this video, subscribing, hitting that bell icon, and leaving a comment below. But as always guys, I've been Alex, and I'll see you next time.